Hey, what's up guys? Cracker here. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to create this impossible layout in Breakdance. Someone posted this in the Breakdance group. This was like a request. It said, is it possible to make this in Breakdance without custom CSS and any headache with mobile responsiveness? So let's take a look at this. So I took this challenge and I decided to recreate this in Breakdance. This is a very sleek layout, a very sleek and modern UI design with inverted border radius, and it features a text wrap. So there are a couple of challenges that we needed to overcome to be able to build this in Breakdance. The first thing we need to do is to know how to build this inverted border radius, and the second thing we need to do is to know how to wrap this around a text. This is an icon, and we're going to be using an option that would allow you to be able to wrap a text around anything, even if it is a div, for example an icon here. Then the next thing we're going to take a look at is responsiveness. So that was one of the main challenges and one of the main concerns the original poster of this request made, and we can see that here everything is fluid. You can see that this layout is fluid, and when it comes here you can see how smooth and fluid it is. And once it comes to this breakpoint, you can see that, see how that changes. The layout changes, and that is all. So we are going to take a look at how to do this in Breakdance. Okay, before we continue, if you like what you're seeing so far, I want you to do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up right now. When you hit the thumbs up, it helps other people to get recommendations for this video, and I want to reach as many people as possible. So help me hit the thumbs up. I want other people to see this video. I want you to help me share this video with others. Hit the thumbs up right now if you appreciate the video. All right, let's continue. So right here in Breakdance, the first thing I'm going to do is to add a column. And adding a column, I want to have a 3-column layout. I don't want to have gaps in my column, so I'm just going to go there and take away the gaps, make it 0. The first one is going to be 25%, and the second one is going to be 60%, and this will automatically default to 15%. So I'm going to start with the middle one. That is the main thing. So what I'm going to do is to select it and add a background, and that background is going to be an image. I'm going to select an image. For this, I'm going to use this image. All right, and that image is going to be, I'm going to go to the image settings. I'm going to set the size to cover, no repeat, and the position is going to be center. I'm going to go back to the container and add a minimum height. Now, the reason I want to add a minimum height is because this is not going to have any content. So we need a minimum height so that it doesn't collapse. It's going to show on any breakpoint that we view it. So the minimum height I want to give it is 350 pixels. Why not make that maybe 340? Okay. So that if we view it on a smaller breakpoint, it will have a height. I'm going to go ahead and give it a border radius of 30 pixels. And then because I want to drop in things inside it that will be positioned, absolutely, I need to give it a position or relative. So right here on the style panel, there is no option for position relative. So we have to check it on the advanced. But to save time, I will just type here position, okay, POS. And then I'm going to click this icon to show results from the advanced panel, and then I can see my position relative here. I'm just going to clear that search. While we're still there, I want to just give it a transition. That transition is going to help us have that fluid effect when we resize the screen. So I'm just going to say trans, and then I'm going to click this. Okay, so I didn't spell that right. TANS. Okay, so that is going to give me my wrapper. Under wrapper and effect, I'm going to see transition. So I'm going to click add an item. My duration will be 400, and I'm just going to leave all this the way it is. So I'm going to click this to get out of the search. Then inside that column, I'm going to add 2 divs. I'm just going to click here and add a div. I'm going to give it a background of white, and then on the container setting, I'm going to give it a width of 50%, and then a minimum height of 70. Then inside there, I'm going to drop in a button. So let's see if this is what we're trying to create here. So I'm going to drop in a button, and I'm going to select this and go to the layouts, and I'm going to align the button to this bottom, okay, and I'm going to center it, something like that. Or I think it should be here, all right, all the way to the edge, because it's all the way to the edge. Now I'm going to select this. I'm going to go all the way to where you have the padding here. And then I'm going to give it a padding top of 20 pixels and the padding left of 20 pixels. The padding bottom is going to be nothing. Then I want to position this div absolutely. So I'm going to type POS position, click here, and then I'm going to click position absolute. I'm going to make the right is going to be 0 and then the bottom is going to be 0. So we have that div right there. I'm going to go out of here and go to border radius, and then I'm going to give it a border radius. I want to give it a border radius on the top left. Okay, so that is going to be 30 pixels. And I'm going to select the button, and I'm going to go here. What do we have there on the button? No more. I'm just going to write no more, and then I'm going to go to the style, the button, and I want it to be custom. And I'm going to click on the custom, the size of the button. I just want that to be custom also, so I can have paddings to increase the size of the button. So I'm going to give it a padding top of 20 pixel and padding bottom of 20 pixel. And then I want it to be a full width on the desktop. And then for the border radius, I'm going to go to corners and then custom, and then the corner radius, I'm going to give it 20 pixels. And for the color, let's check the background color. I just want to select this purple color. I'm going to add that as a custom color. I'm just going to call it purple and save it so I can reuse it. I'm going to take this div and duplicate it. And then I want to remove the button from the one I've duplicated. That is going to be the next div that I want to position here. And I'm going to go to modified. And then under modified, I'm going to see this position. As a matter of fact, I think I should just go into the settings. So I'm just going to go to position, POS, press that, and then right now I don't want right and bottom. What I want is, oh yeah, I need the bottom. What I need is the bottom and the left. And then we're going to swap the width and the height. So the width is going to be the 70 pixels. I'm going to make it 70, and then the minimum height, I want to make it 80% of the container. For the border radius, let me click on modified, and then I'm going to see the border radius. I'm going to click here to open it up, and then I'm going to give it a border top right, okay, of 30, and I'm going to take it off from here. So we have that. I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to preview on the front end what we have so far. Okay, so far we have this. Okay, you can see that my background is not exactly white, but my divs are exactly white. To blend that in, I want to select the section and just make the background of the section white completely. All right, so if I check again on the front end, so everything blends in. Now the next thing we want to do is to give it that rounded, just like this. So we have the border radius for that, and then what we need to do is to make it rounded on each of these edges. So let's go back to Breakdance. Let's start with this. To do that, this is the only part of this tutorial we're going to use custom CSS. I'm going to go into the advanced panel, and then I'm going to click custom CSS to bring it forward. Unfortunately, that is going to hide what we are doing, and I don't want it to hide what we're doing. So perhaps I'm just going to manage it from here. The first thing we want to do is to make sure you type percentage, then selector in a capital letter. I'm going to open and close the bracket, but then we don't want to target the selector. We want to target the pseudo element of the selector, which is the before of the selector. I'm going to put a double colon there, and then I'm going to write before, but it has to be in small letters. And then the first thing you want to declare when you want to create a pseudo element, a before pseudo element, is the content, and which is going to be an empty string. But usually I like writing something like hello, so you can see that something there. So I'm just going to leave that hello there, but then maybe I'll just write the letter I so that you can see that there's something there. So you can see that I, so keep an eye on that. And then I want a width of, I want it to be a width of 50 pixels. And I want to give it a height of 50 pixels. I'm going to give it a background of yellow for now, because I want you to see it. And I'm going to give it a border radius of 50%. I want the position to be absolute. Now making it a position absolute takes it out of the document flow. That means you can place it anywhere. And then I want to move it all the way above the, the parent container. The parent container is this white div. So I want to move it 100% across. So from the bottom, I want to move it bottom. I want to move it 100% from the bottom. And then the left, I want it to be 0. So if I deselect that, you can see where it is. So right now you see that we have this, I don't know if I zoom in, you can see, it's not helping. But right now you can see that we have this right to the edge of this and to the edge of this. All we need to do is to find a way to hide what is showing here. So I'm going to select that again, go back there. And to do that, we need to use a box shadow to hide it. So I'm going to just go box shadow. So the box shadow, we're going to move it to the you know, the x-axis, we want to move it negative 20 pixels. And then the y-axis, we want to move it 20 pixels. You can see there, you can see that. And then the color, we want to make it white. So let's see what happens there. You can see it is white and it covers that part of this div that was showing. Right now, we're going to change the color of this yellow to transparent. So once that is transparent, it gives that effect. I'm going to save that and let's see the front end, what we have. And then we have solved that. Then we have to do the same here. So I'm going to select that again. I'm going to copy the whole of this and then I'm going to paste it now. Because we have already seen, I'm going to just enlarge this. Okay. So let's just, I'm copying the whole of that. I want to paste it, but I'm going to change the before to after. Okay. All right. So now that I've changed the before to after, we have to change a few things. First of all, let me go ahead and delete this I that is here. We don't need that I anymore. The width and the height is going to be the same. The border radius, the background is going to be the same. The border radius is going to be the same. What we are going to change is the bottom and the left. So we don't want the bottom now. We want to make it 0 because we want it to just stay right here. Okay, so if I change that to yellow, you can see. So it's right there. But now I want to move it 100% across the left. So from the left, we want to move it 100%. You can see. And because it still has that box shadow, you can see that that box shadow still works for here. So let's select something else. You can see how it works. All right, let's go back there. And I'm going to change this back to transparent. And let's save and take it, just take a look at the front end. And we have that. So we see we have this and this, the same thing. So we're going to do the same for this div. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the whole of this and go to this div. And then I'm going to go to the advanced custom CSS and I will paste it. But you can see that they're in the wrong places. So let's take a look. For the before, I want the bottom to be 0. And then this, I'm going to change this to right. And I want the right to be 100%. You can see where it is. Now I need to move this box shadow, the white box shadow here. So I'm going to remove this. It's not negative 20%, but 20%. So it moves there. And then I can revert this to transparent. And then for the after, let's make this yellow so we can see what is going on, where it is. You can see where it is. We want to move it up here. So the bottom is going to be 100%. And then the right is going to be 0. So I'm going to make this right, but I want to make it 0. You can see that. And then the box shadow, we don't want it to be negative. So I'm going to remove the negative and then just make it 20 pixels. And we can revert this back to transparent. So we have solved the inverted border radius. And for this button, what I forgot to do was to give it the icon. So we're going to go here, icon. And I'm going to choose an icon. I'm going to say arrow. And the arrow I want to choose is this arrow. And then the gap between the icon, the space before, I want to make it 15, 15 pixels. So move it away like that. So I guess we're done with these. And then let's go back. Here, I just want to add a counter. So I'm going to go to Breakdance counter elements. I think it's called simple counter. So it comes here. Now, when Breakdance gives you an element, you are not bound to use the element the way it appears because there's a lot of customization options here. So right now, this is what we get. So we want to transform this to this. So I'm going to change these happy customers to years experience. I want to start this at 0 and make this 12. So we want 12. And then for the suffix, I want to put plus there. And I want to ease the count. So it slows down. Now this plus here, I want it to be a superscript. I want it to be at the top, not where it is now. Okay. So I'm just going to wrap this with an HTML tag that is for superscript, SUP. And then I'm going to close it, SUP. All right. So you see that takes it up because it is a superscript now. We're going to go to the style panel, the wrapper. I'm going to set it to align this, to align to the left. Okay. And then I'm going to set the width to auto. We don't want a background color, so I'm going to remove that background color. And for the typography, the number, I want the number to be black. We also do not want padding, so I'm going to take away those paddings. And the typography, we want it to be black. The suffix, we want everything to be black. Okay, let's see, what was it? Okay, the suffix, that we want the suffix to be that purple. Okay, just make that purple. So let's go back to the number. So we want the font size to be 48 pixels. And then the font family, I want to use Montserrat, and the font weight is going to be like 400. Let's close that. And for the suffix, I want the font size to still be 48. Then let's close that. And for the title, just want to change the color of the title to black. And then the font size is going to be 14. But the distance between them is too much. Let's see what we can do about that. I'm going to close this. I'm going to spacing below number. I'm going to make it 0. So we have that. Okay, so we have that styling set up. What I'm going to do is just to duplicate this, and then I'm going to go ahead and change this. Then I'm going to select this column, and then I'm going to give it a padding of 20 pixels here and 20 pixels here. I'm going to save it and then check the front end, refresh. All right, so we have that. But I think we might need a bit more spacing between them. I'm going to go to the layout, and I'm going to add a gap of 20 to just stretch it apart. Now at the lower breakpoint, I need this to be like horizontal. So I'm just going to do that from here. So I'm going to do horizontal space between, so that by the time we come here, you can see we have that. I don't think I want to do space between. Maybe, yeah, space between is good, not space apart. Okay. And for this column, I want it to be vertical at, let's see, layout, vertical at font portrait. So let's see here, then font portrait, it is vertical. So I'm going to move it here, and then I'm going to give it a gap of say like 5 pixels to bring it in a little bit more. So let's go back to the desktop. Okay. I'm going to save this. So let's take a look at the breakpoint. So we have this here at this breakpoint, we have this. And at this breakpoint, we will want to increase the width of this so that it will grow a little bit more than it's growing now. So at this breakpoint, I'm going to check the properties that I modified, and we had the width. Now at the desktop, we had 50% width, but here at the portrait, you know, phone portrait, we want it to be 75% width to grow a little bit more. And this one, we want to take it off completely, but we're not deleting it, and we're not using display none because we want it to have a little bit of an animation out. So I'm going to go to the modified, and then I'm going to give it a width of 0. But then I also want to take away the before and after. So I'm going to go to the custom CSS. Let's go to there, and then I want to copy this before, and then I want to come back to that phone portrait and then paste it. But then I want to change the value. So what I want to do is just to make the width 0, and the opacity also will be 0. Now, because we want everything to be smooth and animate out, I'm going to go to the desktop, and then I'm going to add a transition for that before and after. And the transition is going to be 0.4 seconds. Okay. For the main div itself, I also want to add a transition. So I'm just going to write trans, and then I'm going to click here, not modified. So I click here. I'm seeing the transition here. I'm going to add a transition of 400 milliseconds. And for this, I also wanted to have a transition of 400 milliseconds. I'm going to save that, and let's go to the front end and check how it looks. All right, everything looks good. Let's look at the responsiveness from here. You can see how fluid it looks there, sorry, there. And then when we come here, everything just animated down. This is still showing inside the builder, but let's check on the front end and see how it looks. The reason it's still showing is because we had a padding there. So, oh yes, because we duplicated this one and we forgot to remove the padding. Yep. So we need to take off that padding from here. So we didn't need a padding here. So that's why. So right now, when you go there, everything disappears. So let's go back to the front end and refresh. So you see this, see, move. You can see how it slides. All right, nice. Time to build the site. So what we're going to do is I'm going to select this column, and then I'm going to add an image. Let's go to the desktop. I'm going to add an image, and that image, I'm going to choose any image that I want here. So let's do something like this. And then that image width and height. So let's go image width. I want to set it to 40 pixel. Height, I want to set it to 40 pixels. 40 seems to be too small. Let's make it 80. That's supposed to be 80. And then for the border radius, we just want to make it 50%. And we're going to make object feed cover. Then to bring in this, we want to have a div, and then that div, we're going to have 3 elements. So I'm going to drop another div there. So I'm going to add a div. I'm going to add in a heading, and then I'm going to add in a basic text. Then I'm going to add in an icon. Okay. So the icon we're going to have now, this basic text, I would like to make it an H2, but then I want the size to be smaller than this. But let's take a look at this design. So we have this line here, okay? And if I'm using the H2 to get that line, it will require me to wrap this in a div, or maybe use custom CSS pseudo element, or wrap it in a div and put a div in front of it. And I don't want to do that. So I'm going to replace that with another element. So that is going to be my divider, fancy divider. Now I'm going to delete this heading, and then this fancy divider, I'm going to make it a text, okay? And I'm going to write there, what do we have there? Our story. And I'm going to go here and go to the divider. The style, I want it to be solid. And then for the content, I want it to be like this. And then here, I want the width to be 200 pixels. And the pattern, the color, see that color? I want it to be something bright like that. And then for the typography, I'm going to go in here. I want the color to be black. And then the font family should be Montserrat. The font weight, I want it to be 800. And then the font size, I want it to be 18. And let's close that spacing. I want to give it a margin bottom of 30 pixels. Let it move this a bit away from the text. Then for the basic text, I'm just going to copy some lorem ipsum. Let me just copy what we already have here. And then I'm going to drop it there. Now, let's go back to the head to this. This is supposed to be a heading, but we're using a regular fancy divider, which is just a regular text. And this is not good for accessibility or SEO. So if we were supposed to put an H2 here and you decide to use this, it is not good unless you have to go into advanced. So what I'm going to do is to go and add attribute. So I'm going to put attribute that define area roles for heading for text elements that are not actually heading element, that don't use the heading tag. So I'm going to say role. The role will be heading. And then I'm going to say area level. The area level defines whether it is a H1 or H2. So for my own, it's going to be 2 because it's H2. So now if assistive technology on SEO crawler comes here, it's going to recognize this as an H2. Then I'm going to go to the icon. So let's choose the icon. I'm going to go to arrows, and I'm going to choose the same arrow that we had there. Let's go to the styling, the icon. The color of the icon is going to be white. It's going to be solid. And then the background color is going to be this. And then the spacing, let's look at the padding, is going to be 18. Let's make that. Then the icon size, I want it to be smaller than this. So let's make that 20. And then the border radius. So we go to corners, custom, and then we give it a border radius of 15. And that gives us that look. Now, the next thing we have to do is, let's just edit this text, make it look a little bit better. So the font size, I just want to make it, let's say the font size, I want to make it 14. And I'm going to go to advanced and line height 1.6 to spread it out just a little bit. And the next step is to wrap this. To wrap this, what we're going to do is to make sure that the parent container, which is the div, in which the div we need to make the margin top auto to make it sit at the bottom here. All right. Now that is going to be displayed as block. To be able to wrap this text around this icon, we have to set the display property of the parent div. Let's go to the advanced, display as block. And then we're going to select this icon, and then we're going to look for float. So we're going to check this float left, and that is not working. Let's go back to the text. And for this text, we want it to be a paragraph. Let's go back to tags, and we make it a paragraph. Icon is not floating, so we're going to move it to the top. And then when we move it to the top, you see that it floats. And we are going to set some paddings to it. Okay, let's close this icon. So not padding, margin. So the margin, now what we have here is the margin top and bottom. So we're going to look for margin, and that we're going to look for it in this here. We're going to find it here, and we're going to give that margin 10. Okay, margin left, yep, is hover, sorry. we're supposed to give it here. Okay, so we give that 10 pixels. Now the reason this is able to wrap around is that float. So if we go back to modified, and check, if we turn off that float, you see it is not going to wrap. But if we float right, it's gonna wrap right. If we float left, it's gonna wrap left. And if we bring it to the bottom, it's not going to wrap. That is why we have to bring it to the top. Now in the original post, the original post showed that this was wrapped at the bottom. Now it is possible to make this wrap at the bottom, but it's difficult to make it responsive. That is why I decided to scrap the idea and just leave it to wrap at the top. So if you know of any way that this can wrap at the bottom and without having issues with responsiveness, like here we don't have issues with responsiveness. Okay, see, still wraps properly. Okay, this doesn't look good somewhere here, and right here I don't think I want this this to collapse, okay, like that. So we're going to select this and we're going to go here and stack vertically at phone landscape. So we don't want it to stack vertically here. So at phone landscape, yeah, we have it stacked vertically, but I'm going to select this and then I'm going to go to the width and give it a maximum width of 400 at that landscape. And once it's stacked vertically, we want to give them some spacing. So while that column's parent is selected, I'm going to give it a column gap of 40 pixels to move them apart. So that makes it look good on all the breakpoints. And here we need to give this some padding between the image. So there I'm just going to give it spacing, like under here I think something like 20 or 50. Let's go back to let's clean out that 50 and go to the higher breakpoints, and let's just give it maybe something like 32 pixels. Yep, I think that should be fine. Okay, here what do we want it to look like here? Okay, so right now we need this. Now let's take a look at how it is. Refresh. Okay, now here you can see that this moves in closer to that. Okay, this is too far away. Let me close this. You can see it's far away, whereas this moves in like this text is under here, just like this. Okay, so what we're going to do is let's go back there and I'm going to select that column and then I'm going to give it a negative margin. So let's go to modify. We can see that. Then I'm going to say margin, and that margin is going to be under the wrapper. I'm going to give it a negative margin. That negative margin is going to be negative 10%. Whenever you come in here to the advanced, especially when you're using the search, be careful not to apply the settings to the wrapper hover, but apply to the wrapper, not the hover. Okay, so now we have, now see what happens. Let me take that off. You can see that putting that negative 10% pulls it in, but then it pulls this in also. Okay, let's remove that again. You can see that it pulls everything away from the right. And also we have a problem where this div overlaps here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to give it a z index, okay, of, we have the wrapper z index here. Let's say just make it 1 is enough. And then we need to give this a padding right, so to bring this text away from this overlap. So then I'm going to go back to spacing and then I'm going to give it a padding of 5%. The reason I'm giving it in percentage, I want it to be fluid as I'm reducing the screen size. I want it to adjust accordingly. Now to deal with this, where this is pulled in, we have an empty space here. We can't start going into adjust the the size, because it's just going to make everything, once you adjust the size, this is going to become smaller irrespective of the fact that there's a space here. We want it to grow and push this to the available space. We want it to grow and fill up the available space. So I'm going to say grow. I'm going to write here grow because we need a flex grow. I'm going to write here grow and go into the advanced, and then I'm going to set the flex grow to 1, and then that grows in to take up the available space. I'm going to save that and I'm going to refresh this, and then we have something similar to this. You can see it looks similar, and then we go responsive. Let's see. Okay, so here, okay, that looks good. And now maybe, and just maybe, our text maximum width was too much. Okay, we could just adjust that, but the thing is that I wanted it to be 3 lines. So perhaps we could adjust that at here. Was here. The maximum width was 400. We could just make it maybe 600. Okay, and then give that text a little bit more text. You know, something. Copy, paste. Just a bit more text. Save that. Take it out of the front end. It looks better now. Okay, so you can see it's fluid. So everything looks great. On mobile, looks great. All right, I think I've covered everything we needed to cover: the responsiveness, the fluidity, the shapes, everything. So there's nothing left. Okay, so what do you think about this? If you really like what you saw, please don't forget, if you didn't hit the thumbs up before, do it right now and hit subscribe. And if you don't have Breakdance, I have a link in the description below. It is an affiliate link. If you use the affiliate link to purchase Breakdance, you're going to be helping me to make a small commission at no extra cost to you as a way of supporting the channel. If you appreciate what the channel is doing, please go ahead and use the affiliate link whenever you're ready to buy Breakdance. Until next time, have a great day. Bye.